to the channel. Thanks for joining again. What I wanted to do is today I wanted to put a little bit more context around reason I started this channel and kind of the drive and passion behind it, and then also explain a little bit more around my Aston Martin Vantage. I was quite conscious of the fact that in the last video there's a few key stats here and there, but no real in-depth review. So today what I'd like to do is I'd like to run through some of the key features around the spec of this car, run you through kind of my personal features that I wanted on the car, you know, what I could have optioned up, what is optionable, should I say, on this car. So to give you a bit of background, I've been running my own business now for over 7 years. Been running my own recruitment business, and through this pandemic, I think it obviously makes you reevaluate kind of your passions, what you want to do with your life. And whereas my business has been successful, continues to be successful, and I feel very grateful for that because it has afforded me the luxury of being able to get behind the wheel of some of these cars. It's not my real and true deep desire passion, you know, it's my career. I take it very seriously, but my deep passion was always cars from a very early age. So I was really keen, given the opportunity of a free platform like YouTube, to get out there and put out some content, see what you guys think, see if you like it, see if you don't, but ultimately a great excuse to use my car, to get out on road trips, to get to events, meet more like-minded people in the world of automotive, and yeah, to see where it takes me. So plan for the new year, we've got lots of trips planned. We've got a couple of road trips planned with Supercar driver and the group over there. We've got a couple of road trips with friends that we'll be planning in place. You know, all of course, you know, all being well with COVID restrictions and travelling. And what we're also going to do is we're going to be taking the Aston through potentially some modifications, and I'm not talking about kind of, you know, some gaudy spoilers and terrible body kits. What I'm talking about is modifications to the kind of inner gubbings of the car. So as you all I'm sure know by now, this car is running a AMG 4-litre twin turbo V8, well, AMG derived V8, fettled by the guys at Aston Martin. Now, if you know a little bit about this engine, it's currently putting out about 510 PS, so just over 500 brake horsepower, and well over 600 Newton meters of torque at quite a low rev range. Now, the reason I'm talking about the engine and what we can do with it is because this is the same engine that is in the AMG GTR, the 4-door AMG GT, and ultimately the G-Wagon, all of which have substantially more horsepower than this car. So that it's clear that Aston Martin are either planning to bring out, which I'm sure they are, some more powerful versions of this car, and also it leaves plenty of room for tuning, because we know that this engine and this power plant is capable of so much more. So I want to see what I can get out of the car, you know, without making it undrivable. I think it'll be an interesting experiment. I don't think anyone's done it with the new Vantage, so it'd be great to take you guys on that journey of developing this to see where we can go. I know that Rentec do a tuning system, and there's another German company that Evo recently did an article on that have also done the same. So yeah, really keen to see what we can do with that. Also keen to see what else we can do with some of the other aspects of the car, like the exhaust. Not that the exhaust sounds bad at all, or in a normal environment I would change much. But it is slightly, with the particle filters nowadays, it is slightly quieter than it could be. So I'm going to look into other options for that. And if you just don't mind me, we've got a tunnel here, so I'm going to put it into track mode, drop it a couple of gears. Never gets old. Been driving through these tunnels for years in every car that I've owned, and can't get enough. It's just something very childish, but very, very addictive about doing that. So we're going to take the car through some different stages of modifications. We're going to take it on some road trips, and we're going to take the Aston Martin Vantage on a track. Now, I know this isn't a track car, but Aston Martin have set this car up with almost perfect 50-50 weight distribution by setting the engine further back, and I'll show you in a minute with the walk around. I'll show you where the engine sits in the bonnet and how far back it actually sits in the car. So that gives it, with the gearbox and everything in place, it gives it that perfect 50-50 weight distribution. So it is almost set up to be a track going car. It is made for handling. So I'm going to get it out there, and we'll be getting on the track with someone else you may know from YouTube, Instagram, or if you follow the automotive world. We're going to have a bit of one-on-one coaching at a UK track, so stay tuned for that. So got a number of really exciting projects coming. So I'll talk through a few features of a few characteristics and features of the car that maybe we didn't cover in the last video. So this car is running a 8-speed ZF gearbox. It's not a twin clutch, it's a ZF single clutch gearbox. And it has had a bit of stick for not being a dual clutch system, given the fact that this car brand new spec'd up can cost you, upwards of 130,000, 140,000 pounds, if you start putting carbon on it and carbon ceramic brakes, which I'll get onto. So it's an expensive car, and it puts it up there with a lot of cars that are running dual clutch gearboxes, from the 992, Carrera 992 to Audi R8 V10 Plus. So yeah, it has some competition. Personally, you might be able to hear some of the shifts. I don't think there's anything wrong with this gearbox. It's lightning sharp. I think sometimes the downshifts could be a little bit quicker. As far as the upshifts, they are almost seamless. So there's not much more else I'd want from a gearbox. So gearbox for me is sweet. I think, yeah, I've driven a couple of Ferraris before that have dual clutch, and yeah, it's very impressive, but it doesn't bother me too much that it doesn't have it. Right, let's talk about the brakes. So I'm running quite large steel brakes on this car. I didn't buy this car from new. It has had one owner before. This was actually a demo model. So the person that spec'd this car up didn't spec carbon ceramic brakes, they spec steel. Carbon ceramic brakes I don't think are an absolute requirement on this car, especially if you're just using it for road driving. It's very compliant, very competent. They bite in just right when you need them to. I've never had any issues. I might feel differently when I track this car, because you can spec carbon ceramics, and I know on a track, we'll avoid overheating and fade. But I think if it was on the car, if carbon ceramic brakes were on the car when I'd bought it, I'd be happy with them. Would I spec them for the cost? Yeah, probably not. But I'd like your guys' opinion on that. Let me know what you think. Should I have got carbon ceramics on this? Am I going to regret it? We'll see very soon on track. It'll be maybe an expensive life lesson. You may also hear that the brakes are extremely squeaky. This does, apparently, according to Aston Martin, this is actually an Aston Martin kind of thing, having squeaky brakes. Apparently something to do with the brake performance system is so, the brakes are so big and powerful in the steel variety that, or the steel variant, the brakes are so large that they tend to squeak quite a lot if they're not used quite heavily quite often. Now to me that's music to my ears, because that to me sounds like a manufacturer telling me to take the car out and give it an absolute spanking round some country roads as often as possible, so you don't have embarrassing squeaky brakes. So I mean, that sounds like a great thumbs up for the guys over at Aston Martin. I did cover, in the last video, I did cover the aesthetics of the car. Again, aesthetics are very, very subjective. You know, the way one person's work of art is another person's piece of trash. So, but I think the overall resounding thought on this car is that it is a piece of art. It's a beautiful car. It's not overly ostentatious. You know, people love an Aston. I'm going to say that something awful is going to happen now, but ultimately people just love an Aston. I don't know if it's that it's a if it's a quintessentially British thing that they like it, because I know that people also like a Jag, which I owned before. I had a Jaguar F-Type R, and yeah, I don't know what it is, but people love an Aston. So you know, you don't get people hating at you or wanting to spit at you or calling you names. And it'll be interesting to see, because throughout you know, I'm going to put some more videos out there reviewing other cars that, you know, some of my friends own, or that I can hopefully get my hands on, that are in the same price bracket as this. So cars that I could have potentially bought but I didn't, and see, have I made the right decision? You know, is the new Aston Martin Vantage, was that the choice to be made? So that's going to be another element of the next video. So the overall comfort of the car, usability. This car is extremely usable. I use it to take my son to nursery, pick up shopping, go up and down bumps in the road, go over speed bumps, no issues whatsoever. So there's absolutely no issues with, you know, there's no need for a nose lift on this car. I've scuffed it a couple of times. I should have known better. I have scuffed it a couple of times, very, very lightly, but just anyway, got a little bit distracted there. Yeah, I've scuffed the nose a couple of times very gently going down pavements. They were a little bit too large, but otherwise perfectly practical. No need for an expensive nose lift on this, which also keeps the weight down. So the dimensions of this car, it is quite a wide car. It's also not the lightest of cars. You know, it's weighing in at a dry weight, the lowest possible weight that it can with all the lightweight options, carbon ceramic, brakes, lightweight forged alloys. It's still weighing in at just over 1,500 kilograms dry weight, so it's still quite a heavy car, but it disguises it well. It's quite a short chassis, and with the 50-50 weight distribution, it just hides it extremely well. So I'm very, very impressed with the way that this thing covers up its weight and drives. So yeah, no complaints there. And the noise of this car, I know I've just spoken before about, you know, what we can do with the noise of this car, because it sounds incredible. We're running the optional sports exhaust on this, so the quad sports exhaust, which not only looks better, you know, it's a much more aesthetically pleasing look for the car. Not only does it look better, but it also sounds better. And they're proper exhaust. If you look at the back, I'll show you in the show you when we have a look at the outside of the car. They are proper exhaust. They're not fake tips. They're coming straight through from the engine. Real exhaust. The only reason I'm talking about potentially looking at what we can do with them is because there's so much potential in this engine that the noise I know that you could get out of an old Vantage with, say, a Quicksilver exhaust, I think with this new motor, increases in power, I think you can make this thing sound unbelievable. And really, it's mainly about getting the true nature of the engine out of the exhaust. I know there's limits to what can be done when it comes out of, you know, straight off the production line, but it's about really getting the most of that beautiful V8 out. And I know that with a bit of tuning and the right exhaust on this, it is going to sound ridiculous. As far as performance stats on this car, way up on where the old Aston used to be, the old Aston Martin Vantage used to be. Power to weight ratio is much higher. So the 4 litre twin turbo V8, so over 500 brake horsepower, will get you up to a limited top speed of 195, so close to, damn near 200 miles an hour, which is extremely impressive from a road going sports car, and will get you from 0 to 62 in 3.6 seconds. So 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. So extremely impressive credentials from ultimately what is their baseline Vantage. So as you know, the old model of Vantage was out for many years in many different guises. So it's now time to see what Aston are going to do with this one. Just absolutely addictive. This car just makes you want to get out on the road and drive until you've either run out of tyres or petrol or both, or you put it into a hedge, all of which are possible on camera too. The sun is going down, it's getting darker and darker. It's a beautiful winter's night. It's getting dark so early. You just want to keep driving and driving. I'm missing those summer days and I can't wait for them to return so I can get out, grab the wheel and just drive. Dry roads, plant my foot. It's going to be incredible. It's such an addictive powertrain, this, and I think there's so much that we can get out of it. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Your support means the world. This is just the beginning of hopefully a long journey, and yeah, I want to make sure I'm putting out content that you guys are loving, enjoying every minute of. So if you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave some comments, and yeah, I'll see you next time. See you later.